Welcome back, everyone. In today's video, we are going to explore 50 powerful vocabulary words inspired by To Kill a Mockingbird. These words are not too simple, not too advanced, but just right for building stronger English skills. But before we start, let me tell you a little about the book itself, because many people may not actually know what it is about. To Kill a Mockingbird is a classic American novel written by Harper Lee. It is set in the 1930s in the small town of Macomb, Alabama, and the story is told through the eyes of a young girl named Scout Finch. Scout lives with her brother Jem and their father Atticus, who is a lawyer. At first, the novel feels like a story of childhood adventures, with Scout and Jem curious about their mysterious neighbor, Boo Radley. But as the story develops, it becomes much deeper and far more serious. Atticus Finch takes on the difficult case of defending Tom Robinson, a black man falsely accused of a terrible crime. Through this trial, Scout and Jem begin to see the harsh realities of racism, injustice, and prejudice in their community. The book is also about growing up, learning empathy, and finding the courage to stand up for what is right, even when most people are against you. The title itself carries a special meaning. Mockingbirds in the story represent innocence and goodness. They do no harm, they only sing and bring beauty to the world. So when Atticus says it is a sin to kill a mockingbird, it is a reminder that we must protect the innocent and not destroy what is pure and kind. With that understanding of the story, we can now look at the vocabulary. Each of these words appears in or connects to the novel, and they will also help you in everyday English. For each word, I will explain its meaning, give examples, share synonyms and antonyms, and add a quick memory tip so that you never forget it. Aberration. An aberration is something unusual or unexpected, often a departure from the norm. Examples. The warm winter was an aberration compared to past years. Boo Radley's reclusive life was seen as an aberration in Macomb. Her angry outburst was an aberration from her calm personality. Synonyms: anomaly, deviation, irregularity. Antonyms: normality, regularity, conformity. Acquiescence. Acquiescence is the reluctant acceptance of something without protest. Examples. The class sat in silent acquiescence when the teacher announced extra homework. Atticus accepted the unfair verdict with quiet acquiescence, knowing the town's prejudice. He nodded in acquiescence, even though he disagreed inside. Synonyms: compliance, consent, submission. Antonyms: resistance, defiance, refusal. Acquit. To acquit is to officially declare someone innocent of criminal charges. Examples. The jury decided to acquit the young man of all accusations. Atticus hoped the jury would acquit Tom Robinson, despite the odds. She was acquitted after strong evidence proved her innocence. Synonyms: absolve, exonerate, clear. Antonyms: convict, condemn, blame. Adamant. Adamant describes someone who refuses to change their mind, very determined. Examples. She was adamant about finishing her project on her own. Despite pressure, Atticus remained adamant about defending Tom Robinson. He was adamant that the movie was the best he'd ever seen. Synonyms: stubborn, unyielding, resolute. Antonyms: flexible, lenient, yielding. Amiable. Amiable describes someone who is friendly, pleasant, and easy to like. Examples. The teacher's amiable personality made students feel welcome. Miss Maudie was amiable, always kind to Scout and Jem. His amiable smile put everyone at ease. Synonyms: friendly, agreeable, good-natured. Antonyms: unfriendly, hostile, cold. Auspicious. Auspicious means favorable or promising for future success. Examples: the clear skies were an auspicious sign for the picnic. Scout's first day at school was not an auspicious beginning. Winning the first game was an auspicious start to the season. Synonyms: favorable, encouraging, fortunate. Antonyms: unlucky, ominous, inauspicious. Benign. Benign means gentle, kind, or harmless. Examples: the doctor assured her the lump was benign. Miss Maudie had a benign presence that comforted Scout. His benign advice was meant to guide, not criticize. Synonyms: kind, harmless, gentle. Antonyms: harmful, hostile, malignant. Brevity. Brevity is the quality of being brief and to the point. Examples: the teacher admired the brevity of her essay. Atticus used brevity in his powerful courtroom speech. Texting encourages brevity, he joked, pointing to the short replies. Synonyms: conciseness, shortness, economy. Antonyms: lengthiness, verbosity, wordiness. Caricature. A caricature is an exaggerated image or description that highlights flaws or peculiarities. Examples: the cartoonist drew a caricature of the politician with a giant nose. Scout and Jem laughed at the snowman that looked like a caricature of Mr. Avery. His angry rant turned into a caricature of his usual calm self. Synonyms: parody, cartoon, exaggeration. Antonyms: portrait, likeness, realism. Condone. To condone is to accept or overlook behavior that is wrong. Examples: the teacher refused to condone cheating. Atticus did not condone violence, even when provoked. She condoned his lateness because of the heavy traffic. Synonyms: forgive, overlook, excuse. Antonyms: condemn, punish, forbid. Condescend. To condescend is to act as if you are superior to others, often in a patronizing way. Examples: he refused to condescend to argue with children. Jem felt insulted when his sister tried to condescend and teach him. The celebrity didn't condescend to speak with fans. Synonyms: patronize, deign, talk down to. Antonyms: respect, honor, elevate. Contentious. Contentious describes something likely to cause arguments or disputes. Examples: politics is always a contentious topic at dinner. Scout found her new teacher's attitude contentious. The meeting became contentious when money was mentioned. Synonyms: argumentative, quarrelsome, combative. Antonyms: agreeable, peaceful, cooperative. Cynical. Cynical describes a distrustful attitude, assuming people act only out of self-interest. Examples: the old man was cynical about politicians. Jem became cynical after the unfair trial. "You're just being cynical," she said when he doubted her compliment. Synonyms: skeptical, distrustful, pessimistic. Antonyms: trusting, optimistic, naive. Disapprobation. Disapprobation is strong disapproval, especially on moral or ethical grounds. Examples. The teacher's disapprobation was clear when she shook her head. Atticus faced disapprobation from the town for defending Tom Robinson. The movie received critical disapprobation for its violent scenes. Synonyms: condemnation, criticism, objection. Antonyms: approval, praise, endorsement. Edification. Edification is the process of improving someone morally or intellectually. Examples. Books provide both enjoyment and edification. Miss Maudie's wisdom served as edification for Scout. His lecture was for the edification of the students. Synonyms: enlightenment, education, instruction. Antonyms: corruption, ignorance, neglect. Elucidate. To elucidate is to make something clearer or easier to understand. Examples. The teacher tried to elucidate the difficult math concept. Atticus elucidated the evidence during the trial. She asked him to elucidate his vague statement. Synonyms: clarify, explain, illuminate. Antonyms: confuse, obscure, complicate. Erratic. Erratic describes something irregular, unpredictable, or inconsistent. Examples. His erratic driving scared the passengers. Scout noted her teacher's erratic behavior on the first day. The internet connection has been erratic all day. Synonyms: inconsistent, irregular, unpredictable. Antonyms: stable, consistent, reliable. Formidable. Formidable means inspiring fear or respect due to power, size, or difficulty. Examples. Climbing Mount Everest is a formidable challenge. Atticus was a formidable presence in the courtroom. The team faced a formidable opponent in the finals. Synonyms: intimidating, powerful, daunting. Antonyms: weak, trivial, unimpressive. Furtive. Furtive describes something done secretly, often to avoid attention. Examples. She cast a furtive glance at her notes during the exam. The children exchanged furtive whispers in class. Boo Radley was often seen only in furtive glimpses. Synonyms: secretive, sly, stealthy. Antonyms: open, obvious, transparent. Futility. Futility is the sense that something is useless or pointless. Examples. Arguing with him felt like pure futility. Atticus fought against the futility of challenging deep-rooted racism. She sighed at the futility of cleaning while kids kept making a mess. Synonyms: uselessness, hopelessness, ineffectiveness. Antonyms: effectiveness, purpose, success. Illicit. Illicit refers to something forbidden by law, rules, or custom. Examples. The police uncovered an illicit trade of stolen goods. Jem and Scout's secret visit to the courthouse felt like an illicit adventure. He was punished for engaging in illicit behavior online. Synonyms: unlawful, forbidden, prohibited. Antonyms: legal, lawful, permitted. Imprudent. Imprudent describes someone who acts without care or thought for the consequences. Examples. It was imprudent to invest all his savings in one risky scheme. Scout thought it was imprudent of Jem to touch the Radley house. Her imprudent words cost her a close friendship. Synonyms: careless, reckless, thoughtless. Antonyms: cautious, sensible, prudent. Indigenous. Indigenous means originating naturally in a particular region or environment. Examples: corn is indigenous to the Americas. The Finch family's history was indigenous to Macomb County. Indigenous cultures often preserve unique traditions. Synonyms: native, local, aboriginal. Antonyms: foreign, imported, alien. Indignant. Indignant describes feeling anger or annoyance at something unfair. Examples: she grew indignant when accused of lying. Scout became indignant when her teacher insulted Atticus. He wrote an indignant letter to the editor after reading the article. Synonyms: resentful, offended, outraged. Antonyms: content, accepting, pleased. Inevitable. Inevitable describes something that is certain to happen and unavoidable. Examples: death is inevitable for everyone. Scout felt the fight with Cecil Jacobs was inevitable. With such bad weather, delays were inevitable. Synonyms: unavoidable, destined, certain. Antonyms: preventable, avoidable, uncertain. Infallible. Infallible means incapable of making mistakes or being wrong. Examples: many once believed science was infallible. Jem thought Atticus's aim was nearly infallible. No human being is truly infallible. Synonyms: flawless, unerring, perfect. Antonyms: fallible, imperfect, unreliable. Malevolent. Malevolent describes someone who wishes harm or evil upon others. Examples: rumors painted Boo Radley as a malevolent figure. The villain's malevolent laugh echoed through the hall. Jealousy can create malevolent intentions. Synonyms: malicious, evil, spiteful. Antonyms: benevolent, kind, compassionate. Melancholy. Melancholy refers to deep, thoughtful sadness. Examples: a sense of melancholy filled the air after the trial. The music had a melancholy tone. He sat by the window in quiet melancholy. Synonyms: sadness, gloom, sorrow. Antonyms: joy, cheer, happiness. Ominous. Ominous suggests that something bad or threatening is likely to happen. Examples: dark clouds gave an ominous warning of a storm. Bob Ewell's ominous presence unsettled Atticus. The ominous silence in the room made her nervous. Synonyms: threatening, foreboding, menacing. Antonyms: reassuring, promising, hopeful. Persevere. To persevere is to continue trying despite difficulty or delay. Examples: she persevered through long hours of study to pass the exam. Atticus taught his children to persevere in the face of prejudice. The athlete persevered despite multiple injuries. Synonyms: persist, endure, continue. Antonyms: quit, surrender, abandon. Placid. Placid describes something calm, peaceful, and free from disturbance. Examples: The lake was placid, reflecting the clear blue sky. Atticus's placid demeanor calmed Scout during tough times. She enjoyed the placid atmosphere of the library. Synonyms: serene, tranquil, calm. Antonyms: agitated, disturbed, turbulent. Precarious. Precarious means uncertain, unstable, or risky. Examples: he stood on a precarious ladder to paint the roof. Scout felt precarious about her first day at school. The company's finances were in a precarious state. Synonyms: unstable, insecure, risky. Antonyms: safe, secure, stable. Predilection. A predilection is a strong liking or preference for something. Examples: she had a predilection for mystery novels. Scout mentioned Atticus's predilection for reading at night. His predilection for sweets worried his doctor. Synonyms: preference, inclination, fondness. Antonyms: dislike, aversion, indifference. Repertoire. A repertoire is the collection of skills, pieces, or works someone can perform. Examples: the pianist expanded her repertoire with jazz pieces. Jem and Scout added new dares to their repertoire of games. His repertoire of jokes made everyone laugh. Synonyms: collection, range, inventory. Antonyms: limitation, scarcity, lack. Resilient. Resilient describes the ability to recover quickly from difficulties or setbacks. Examples: children are often resilient after minor injuries. Atticus was resilient despite the trial's emotional toll. The resilient community rebuilt after the storm. Synonyms: tough, adaptable, strong. Antonyms: fragile, weak, vulnerable. Rueful. Rueful expresses sorrow, regret, or pity. Examples: she gave a rueful smile after realizing her mistake. Atticus offered a rueful explanation for Maycomb's prejudice. He felt rueful about missing his best friend's wedding. Synonyms: regretful, apologetic, remorseful. Antonyms: unrepentant, shameless, defiant. Scrutiny. Scrutiny is close, careful, and critical examination. Examples: the documents were under government scrutiny. Atticus's arguments were met with public scrutiny. The project didn't hold up under scrutiny. Synonyms: inspection, analysis, examination. Antonyms: neglect, glance, oversight. Squalor. Squalor describes filthy, wretched living conditions. Examples: the refugees lived in squalor after the disaster. The Ewells' home reflected poverty and squalor. Years of neglect turned the house into squalor. Synonyms: filth, poverty, degradation. Antonyms: cleanliness, luxury, purity. Staccato. Staccato refers to short, sharp, and detached sounds or actions. Examples: the gunshots echoed in staccato bursts. Her staccato speech made the audience uneasy. The pianist played the piece with crisp staccato notes. Synonyms: abrupt, clipped, disjointed. Antonyms: smooth, flowing, connected. Stifle. To stifle is to hold back, suppress, or prevent something. Examples. She tried to stifle a laugh in the classroom. Jem stifled his fear when walking past the Radley house. The government attempted to stifle free expression. Synonyms. Suppress, smother, restrain. Antonyms. Encourage, release, express. Sullen. Sullen describes being gloomy, sulky, or silently resentful. Examples. The child sat in a sullen mood after losing his toy. Jem became sullen after the trial's verdict. She gave a sullen reply, refusing to look up. Synonyms. Moody, sulky, gloomy. Antonyms. Cheerful, lively, sociable. Temerity. Temerity is boldness or excessive confidence, often seen as reckless. Examples. He had the temerity to question the judge. Atticus admired Tom's temerity to speak the truth in court. She showed temerity by climbing the cliff without safety gear. Synonyms. Audacity, boldness, daring. Antonyms. Caution, fear, hesitation. Tyrannical. Tyrannical describes cruel, harsh, and oppressive control or leadership. Examples. The tyrannical king silenced all dissent. Scout described Calpurnia as tyrannical when she scolded her. Tyrannical bosses make workplaces unbearable. Synonyms. Oppressive, authoritarian, harsh. Antonyms. Fair, democratic, gentle. Umbrage. Umbrage is a feeling of offense, annoyance, or resentment. Examples. He took umbrage at her sarcastic comment. Scout took umbrage when called a coward. The remark caused umbrage among the audience. Synonyms. Offense, resentment, indignation. Antonyms. Satisfaction, delight, contentment. Unfathomable. Unfathomable describes something too difficult to understand or imagine. Examples. The depth of the ocean is unfathomable. For Scout, the town's prejudice was unfathomable. His kindness was unfathomable to those who didn't know him well. Synonyms. Incomprehensible, mysterious, deep. Antonyms. Understandable, clear, simple. Unmitigated. Unmitigated means absolute, complete, and not reduced in intensity. Examples. The plan was an unmitigated disaster. Atticus's defeat in court was an unmitigated injustice. Her joy at winning was unmitigated. Synonyms. Absolute, total, outright. Antonyms. Partial, limited, moderate. Venerable. Venerable describes someone or something respected due to age, wisdom, or dignity. Examples. The venerable professor had taught for 50 years. Judge Taylor was seen as a venerable figure in Maycomb. The venerable oak tree had stood for centuries. Synonyms. Respected, esteemed, honored. Antonyms. Disrespected, dishonorable, trivial. Vehement. Vehement describes showing strong feeling, passion, or intensity. Examples. She gave a vehement speech against injustice. Jem reacted with vehement anger at the unfair verdict. He was a vehement supporter of the team. Synonyms. Passionate, forceful, intense. Antonyms. Mild, apathetic, indifferent. Volition. Volition is the act of making a choice by one's own will. Examples. She joined the group of her own volition. Tom Robinson acted under Maella's request, not his volition. He quit his job by volition, not pressure. Synonyms. Choice, will, decision. Antonyms. Coercion, compulsion, force. Wary. Wary means cautious and watchful, especially about potential danger. Examples. The hikers were wary of snakes along the path. Scout remained wary of Boo Radley until she understood him. Investors are wary during uncertain markets. Synonyms. Cautious, careful, alert. Antonyms. Careless, reckless, inattentive. And that's it. 50 vocabulary words that not only strengthen your English, but also give you deeper insight into To Kill a Mockingbird. This story reminds us about justice, kindness, and protecting innocence, symbolized by the mockingbird itself. Which word was your favorite today? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more vocabulary lessons every week. Thanks for watching, and until next time, stay curious and keep learning.